What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick. I talk all about trading stocks, Forex, and markets. So if you are new here, make sure to subscribe down below. Today we're going to be talking about gold. I'm going to jump over to the charts in just a moment. I've got some ideas. Gold has been back and forth for the last month or so, so I wanted to share some concepts and some potential trade ideas that I have on the gold market. Please note, if there are any trades that I actually end up taking, I will be sharing them for members inside of the A1 trading community that my staff and I run. If you are interested in finding out more about our community, click the link down below in the description, check it out, see if it's a group that would be fitting for you, and let's go ahead and jump into the video. What's up, traders? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about gold because the price of gold is all over the place, and I've had a lot of questions come in recently on the YouTube channel as well as my email. Just people saying, hey Nick, what do you think about the price of gold, and what do you think from a technical perspective is going to happen? So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to be talking about the recent rise in gold, some technical ideas that I personally have, and some potential trade setups a little bit more in-depth and longer term on the gold market. So stay tuned. Let's get into it right now. Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you are having a great day. Hey, before we get into these videos, I'm doing today's video on TradingView, but sometimes I use MetaTrader. I kind of use both. I honestly just alternate. But let me know down in the comments, do you prefer MetaTrader or TradingView for my videos when I'm doing analysis like this? Let me know, comment that, and I'm sure we'll get some good conversation going down there in the comments. So taking a look at gold here, I want to talk from a couple different perspectives, one of them being the daily chart. So when we're looking at the daily chart here, there is some interesting stuff happening because long term we've been moving up on gold really nicely. So let me actually back out here and you could see we've seen this whoops, don't want the trend line. I'm still getting used to TradingView over MetaTrader. I switch back and forth, but so when we're looking at the long-term chart here, you can see I've got my my handy dandy 200-day moving average simple right here, right? So I've got that one plugged onto the chart, and you can see long term here on gold, we have been in a very strong bullish market. Okay, this has actually been outperforming the S&P 500. Watch this. If I compare really quick just to show you guys, SPX 500, we can put this on the chart. I think that's how that works. Yep, there we go. And you can see recently it's actually done pretty well. So we saw in the dip back in March, we saw the S&P 500 come down incredibly hard. Now, granted, gold also did come down, but it was not nearly as strong of a dip on the price of gold, and it was followed by a very quick recovery that, you know, completely took out new highs really shortly after. You can see we actually did not take out new highs until right around here, which is roughly in August on the S&P 500. So really strong rally for gold, and the question is it going to continue? Let's get rid of the S&P 500 for a moment there, and you can see that long term, it's looking very bullish for gold. And so I want to talk about some bullish opportunities that I still believe are possible in this bullish market. The thing about markets is they do tend to trend, and sometimes those long-term trends can be very profitable if you know what to look for. And so for me, I am personally, and I'm personally long biased on gold, and I have been for quite some time, especially when we got that cross back in the momentum direction of the upside. If any of you guys are OG viewers of the channel, you know that back in this time I was talking a lot about gold and putting it all over my stream, saying, you know, I'm personally long biased on gold. We've just crossed above the 200-day moving average. Things look like they could be due for a rally, putting in those higher lows. That's another topic for another day, back in the early days of my YouTube channel. However, as we go forward, there's some stuff that we can talk about in the current, where with this current bullish trend, I think that there is potential for it to continue. Now, currently, we are stuck at this one spot here on gold. So right now, we are alternating around the 1800 to 1900 level. We've just been holding this level as a supportive structure for a couple weeks now. So actually, the last month, we've really just been sideways. Now, as we go into the price of gold now, or the analysis of it right now, the question is it too high? Is it too low? I think that too high is a dangerous term when you're talking about a roaring uptrend. So I don't necessarily think that saying things are too high is the right call. However, looking for opportunities to get long, for me, I prefer not to be buying at the highs. So in this time, Although you probably would have made a lot of money buying here, buying here, buying here. I don't believe personally in buying just because it looks strong. I'd prefer to wait for some sort of pullback or some sort of discount, if you will, to try and get involved. And that's what I'm going to be doing today when I talk about the price of gold. Now, to me, honestly, in the short term, I think it very much is possible that gold could see a little bit more of a dip. Okay. Again, we highlighted, look at this 200-day moving average, how well this price held that area on the previous touch of this zone. Okay. That 200-day moving average held like a freaking wall. It just bought up right away and continued the overall uptrend as we retested a level that we hadn't retested in a long, long time. I remember talking in my stream saying, man, I'd love for it to retest the 200 so I could buy it for all of this time. Little had I known I should have just bought it as it was going up, but that's hindsight, of course. When it did finally dip, that was a great buying opportunity. That was a very, very rare instance, and for good reason. We have not touched the 200-day moving average again since that time back in March. And so if it does start to head back to that 200-day moving average, you know that I will probably be interested in looking for long opportunities on that pullback. So what we can do is we can talk about some more supportive zones or structures that may be worth keeping an eye on. Notice how this level here actually lines up pretty nicely with that 200-day moving average. I actually like the idea of buying that potentially if it comes down to that level. Now, again, I mentioned that it's possible we see some more short-term sell pressure on gold, and I think that that is actually pretty likely. We've seen a lot of consolidation up here, and usually after a super long run up like this, right, we enter into consolidation, right, and it slowly dips, and the bears have some sort of control for a little while, and if the long-term trend does decide to continue, which in this case I think it does, right, I think there's a good chance there, then the longer term bulls will pick it up and start that roaring uptrend again. If that is the case, how am I going to position myself to be there for that? Well, again, I'd prefer to try and wait out this situation rather not just be buying this, right? A lot of people buy gold right here because it's going crazy on the news and they say, oh, I don't want to miss this. And then they hold on to it for, 6 months, a year or 2 years, 5 years before it starts rallying again. For me, what I'd be looking for is a pullback to a pretty discounted rate, which to me, I really like that 200-day moving average as a potential area of value. Now, it also happens to line up with this previous resistance where we consolidated for a month or 2 months on gold for this time. And notice an interesting little pattern here. Gold has been doing something in this uptrend where it basically trends for a month and then it trends sideways, trends for a month and it trends sideways. So we are currently about it looks like this was maybe a month and a half. This looks like it's starting to near about a month and a half. So things very well could start trending another direction for a month. Now, granted, it could actually trend down for a month, which could give us the opportunity, in my view, to be looking for that long opportunity. So that is just my opinion there on gold for the time being there on the daily chart. But let's take a look a little bit shorter term, jump down to the 4-hour chart for those of you guys who are a little bit more actively trading gold. I know that gold is a very popular thing to trade. You definitely have to be careful with it because it can be very, very violent. But the question is, well, on the shorter time frames, what are we looking at? Well, we do have to acknowledge the fact that we are putting in lower highs. This is pretty significant, right? Just seeing those lower highs is showing that every time there's a bullish rally that gets going, sellers step in and push price lower. The reason that that is of something to take note of is that we don't want to necessarily just be buying every time it tries to rally because we might be caught in one of those shoots back down the other way. Now, my 2 favorite scenarios here for gold right now on the 4-hour chart, there's really just 2 scenarios. I like the idea of waiting for a break and retest either direction. Let's say we are wrong and there is actually a bullish break. What would that look like? Well, let me highlight something really quick. We'll talk about this zone here. Let me put in that. I'm going to change that color to red. Okay. So let's say that we do start to get a rally here to the upside. The big thing that I would be looking for bullish strength would be probably a break above this downward trend line, right? Of course, that's going to be our first barrier. But second is going to be seeing if we can break through this high here. If we can break through that concept of lower high, lower high, lower high, I like the trade a lot better. So if price were to get long here and really get strong, On the retest of that opportunity, I think that there could be some nice long setups. Okay, in that case, I think trying to trade it back to the highs could actually make a lot of sense, especially if you were able to find a bottom and put structure below it. I personally like this setup a lot. This actually gives, what does that say, a 2 to 1, roughly 2.2 to 1. So if that were to happen and we were trading back to the highs, in my view, this is one of the best ways to try and look for that opportunity. Again, just my opinion. I'm not telling you you should go put all your money on this or anything like that. Just sharing my own personal opinion on this market. Now, let's flip the script though and say, what if we get bearishness continue, which is very possible with all this US dollar strength that we are seeing right now, right? Because if we're looking at XAU USD, and we get a strong bullish dollar, that could mean a bearish move for gold. So if that were to happen and we were to see the break lower, then we're gonna flip the script and look for something like this, in my opinion, right? Let me get the tool out here, short position on TradingView, and we'll go here and say, okay, well, if we get the retest, we could put stops above structure there, look for something like a 2 to 1, see if it lines up. Actually, let's see. We could even target that zone that we talked about, where I think price could head on that 200-day moving average. That gives you a pretty decent 2.4 to 1. So I even like that trade a little bit better if that were to play out. But again, for that to be the case, I'd be looking for some sort of confirmation of strength to the downside, meaning I want to see price close strongly, right? Looking for that retest and trying to get short on the way down. Okay, so that is my two favorite setups there on gold for the time being. But then longer term, remember we talked about, I personally like the idea of looking to get long, reevaluating things if we get down to this structural zone down at that 1750 level. Guys, thanks so much for watching. If you got something out of this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It does help me out on the YouTube algorithm. So thanks so much, and we'll see you back in the next video.